Good day, one and all. Our audience, which is growing by the minute, by the episode. So thank you very much for listening. This is a podcast. It's called I Would Not, Could Not Run. And it's about running, and we're two blokes. Andrew, who runs quite well, and me, Oliver, who runs a lot slower, but doesn't care and still gets a lot out of it. And that's sort of one of our messages. This running thing, which is quite easy to get into. Once you get into it, it sort of grabs you. It's something that we should be doing because we're human beings and we're kind of built to run, and we've talked about that before. It's what our bodies are quite good at, and there is a very low barrier to starting it, really. Just a sort of pair of shoes, shorts, maybe something on top. But we, like I say, we're two quite large fellows, but we've become smaller over the months, and well, I suppose it's fair to say, Andrew, isn't it?
I think so. Yes, over the months and years, and you're catching up with me, Oliver. Actually,
yeah. Well, I've lost. I mean, it's not you can't lose it all by running, really, because if you look at the calories that you burn doing a sort of 5K, and then you have a Mars bar or two, you've kind of counteracted the benefits. So you've got to look at diet as well, which we will at some point. We'll look at diet.
Oh yes, we'll add that to
also,
the list.
who also want to lose a bit of weight as well. But yeah, so my we normally talk a little bit about our running since we last spoke. How have you been? I've had something of a breakthrough, but I'll tell you in a minute. Let me know how what you've been up to, because I think you might have tweaked a little something.
I think I might have mentioned it on the last podcast, actually. So I've had a bit of a calf strain, and I have this habit where I tend to try and power on through the minor injuries, and I think I might have powered on through too much with this one. So this calf strain is just hanging around a bit. It's been going up for 2 weeks, and I did a run a few days ago, and it really was not happy. So I think I'm just going to have to stop for some time until it feels properly fixed, and that's almost part of this podcast, actually. So it's quite a topical subject, this, because I need to tell myself when to stop, but also not forget to restart again. And the other thing is, Oliver and me, we were at the St Albans Pub in the Park event yesterday, which was fantastic, and we had a few beers, and I'm not feeling great today.
No.
So a calf strain and a bit of a hangover, and that is pretty not great for running. But that's not always a reason not to run. So you just got to decide, at the time how you feel.
Yeah, that's right. And this is why this episode is called Blasting Through Setbacks, and there will be there will be some. That is the one thing that we can guarantee. At one point, you'll think, God, I'm running slower. I want to give this up. This is ridiculous. I can't breathe. Or, golly, my calf is hurting. And it gets worse as you get older. There's nothing you can do about that. But the good news is you can blast through. And we both blasted through our own setbacks. And we're going to be talking about some of them. My week, by the way, has been quite good, actually. I got a bit sort of down that I was getting slower and it was so hot and stuff. And then I realised, and I've read a few things, that actually heat really does slow you down, because being warm-blooded, we like to stay at 98.4, and that takes quite a lot of effort when you're running very hard and the temperature's very high. So I think I've been hit quite badly by the heat because I'm not an athletic person or a fast runner, and I'm a little bit larger than your average runner. So I've sort of taken that into account, given myself a bit of a pat on the back for carrying on through summer, and my times are getting a little bit faster again. And I've realised to sort of lower my... Yeah, don't look for a personal best every time. That's madness. That's like going to work and wanting your best work day every day. It's absolutely bonkers. Just go to work and have a good day, and that's great. Just go... If I can get around about 7 minutes a kilometre, I'm absolutely chuffed. And as the autumn comes in, that's going to get easier for me. So I have started enjoying it a little bit more for what it is. And if I have a good run, that's a good run, and I'm not chasing personal bests or yearly bests. And also, one other thing that's happened recently is I used to, when I finished Couch 5K, I used to actually dread the next run because I remember the pain from the previous one. Sure. And I've started realizing that you don't have to get to the point of pain where it's really uncomfortable. only get to the point where you know you're expending energy and doing yourself good and losing fat and stuff, and that's fine. So I've learned that as well. So I don't fear any run anymore. I don't. I just look forward to the good feelings, which are the feelings at the end of it, and that feeling you get into. They call it the runner's high, but we'll talk about that. It's a myth. But when you're running along and you go, I think I could probably run at this pace forever. Oh, look, a bird flying over the river. That's beautiful. And you get that every single time you run. So I've had quite a good week. And like I've said on a few of the previous podcasts, I haven't had a serious injury that stopped me running yet. In the 16 months I have been running, touch wood again, it'll happen because I'm 59 years old and still a little bit overweight. But I've just had the odd strain and sprain and twinge in my knee, thigh, calf, and ankle for a while. But apart from that, nothing. So I do want to talk about it, though. I have to blast through Setbacks, the name of this episode, because again, it'll happen to me. So, what are the first things that you would say? You wrote this thing in the show notes called "How to Not Become a Non-Runner," sort of how to fall out of the faith and never come back again. And I quite like that. That's an interesting phrase. So what are the things that you have in your mind when you're thinking, no, this isn't going to knock me off my running pedestal, as it were? I'm still going to continue being a runner.
Yeah, I was almost thinking about questions to ask myself to sort of come up with the list of things which might help me stop running, if you like. And I was thinking of how to not lose all the hard-won fitness, and how to just it's too easy to not restart again, and how do you not fall into these traps and that sort of thing. I mean, I have had periods of injury, which you don't seem to have, Oliver, which is interesting and lucky you to find out what you've done. So
maybe I'm not pushing myself enough as well.
Well, that's possible. It's possible, but then I think you need to we all decide what we want from running and what is an acceptable level of suffering, and there is some truth in the no pain, no gain thing, so long as you're not pushing so hard that you're getting injuries. And the harder you train, the more likely you are to get injuries. But there is a sweet spot where you push yourself and get adaptations and benefits. If you're not pushing yourself, if I'm not pushing myself, then that's can be plateau land. But plateau land is just running. That's just running. That's right.
It's fine. Exactly.
So I've never. So even though I've had some annoying persistent pain, I typically have a piriformis, which is part of my butt muscle, essentially, which seems to be problematic. And I've tried to educate myself on that. But I never got to the point where I've sort of lost the faith or started to falter. I've always, because the prize of being able to run is like the holy grail for me, and it hasn't really ever come into question. So even though I've had difficult patches, I've never actually seriously considered stopping.
It's maybe it's more like fishing. It's like a hobby, right? So once you're a fisherman, and you go out to the river and you do it every weekend, and you're not disappointed that you haven't caught the biggest fish of your life every time you go. You've just done it because it does more for you than just a sport. It is part of your relaxation, part of what defines you, in a way. And I guess that's more like it. You don't want to have it as a chore, because like keeping fit is a chore. It's just something you do, and at our age, it's something you have to do, really. I mean, you really have to consider, what am I going to do to get my body moving? Because if you're nearly 60 like we are and you don't do anything, that's not the greatest thing, without getting preachy about it. But it's
the greatest place to be.
I don't think so, yeah, because you're going to get immobile eventually. It's just going to happen quicker. And the other thing I would say about not getting injured is it proves to me, and I know I will get injured at some point, that although I had done very little sport for the previous 25 years before I started running, I was a bit worried that because I was not sporty in an athletic sense, in the way I'm built, but also in the fact that I don't do sport, that would mean I would probably more likely to get injuries. Now, maybe it's true, I don't know, but my experience was I started slow, very slow, and came up to just merely slow, and that slow progression meant I didn't get
Oh,
injuries,
I think so.
and I was sensible in walking my warm up and walking my warm down, a little bit of stretching. So I mean, I'm only one data point in billions of people, but all I would say is if you haven't done much sport for a while and you suddenly think I'm going to give this a go, I have managed to do it with no injuries.
Yeah, I think so long as you are being careful and taking it in steps, there's no reason that you're, going to have a problem with injuries. And something you said a bit before there sort of sparked an idea in terms of if you stop running, that doesn't mean that you're not a runner in a way, because I think once you've acquired the knowledge of how to run, you can just go back and do it again. So if and almost I'm speeding ahead a bit to the end, but if you do have a break from running for whatever reason, that doesn't make you not a runner because you have the knowledge of how to get back to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to what are the key setbacks? We've touched on injury. I suppose there's also that thing about life getting in the way, and I'm very, very busy. And I've got work. I've got young kids. We haven't got young kids anymore because we're old. But there's all sorts of things going on. My boss at the moment is one of the busiest guys you could possibly imagine. He's always flying over the world. He's one of these sort of inspirational guys with so much energy. And I'm on Strava with him, obviously, because you've obviously got to compliment your boss. Got a great run boss, superb run boss, and do that a lot. But he always finds time for his run. So it's part of his life. And you come back to this all the time. You say you are a runner, as in you are a fisherman, or whatever it is you do as part of your life.
Does he run on the aeroplane?
He does, and then he takes off the speed of the aeroplane, so he's not saying he's running, the Strava saying he's done 500 kilometres in 2 minutes.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, he doesn't do that, no. He's quite small, though, so he probably could get down the aisle quite easily, but I won't know. But what he does do is he always has his shoes with him, so wherever he is, whether he's in Uzbekistan or Tel Aviv or Glasgow or Afghanistan or Syria, he'll have his run. He's also very good as well, so it's just completely injected into his life. So I think he's got young kids as well. So point being, if it's part of what you do, you simply just do it at some point, and it squeezes into your lifestyle. And again, because all you need is a pair of trainers and a pair of shorts and some part of planet, some ground, preferably flat, you can do it quite easily. So I think that's one of the things about allowing life as an excuse is I don't know, because you don't have to run for hours and hours and hours to have a huge benefit.
Yeah, well, so I guess the message is that no one can possibly be busier than Oliver's boss, and he can run, so
That's right.
we can all run.
I suppose so, yeah. I mean, Jimmy Carter famously had a bit of a funny turn in Central Park, and he was president of the USA, and he ran. He ran, yeah.
There we are. Yeah.
I suppose the other thing is illness as well. If you're not feeling it's like what the doctor said to my wife when we were going on a motorcycle holiday when she was 6 months pregnant with our son Charlie. The doctor just said, "Well, how do you feel?" And she said, "Oh, I feel absolutely fine." And she's, quite fit. We've talked about how good she's at running, annoyingly. And off she went. We went around the Pyrenees in a motorcycle and sidecar, absolutely fine. Obviously, Charlie is now only 2.5 feet tall. No, everything was fine. And Charlie's now 6'3" and a good runner, actually, as well. So there's a lot of listening to your body, isn't there, when it comes to feeling not quite off colour. You're a bit hungover today. How do you feel about running?
Yep. Well, in terms of sort of things which might set me back, I was just coming back to your point about your boss, and I'm just thinking how it was when I was working, actually, which was many years ago now, something like 3 or 4 years ago. But I did run for 4 years while I was working, and it was busy and hard, but I just found something that worked. So Rachel, my wife, and me would run at 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, in the dark, in the rain, in the snow, whenever it was. And I think the reason that was okay is because we had the right gear, and we planned and we prepared, and in the winter we wore the winter stuff, and we had head torches and everything else, so it's possible to run. If you don't have a head torch and you're running down footpaths, forget it. And if you're not careful, all of these become reasons why you can't run. So I can't go out, I can't run because it's dark. Well, have a torch. I can't run because it's wet and cold. Well, have a coat. I mean, it sounds simple, but it's just about ticking off all the reasons why you can't do it and just say, well, actually, I can. There are answers to all of this, and with the right gear, and just focusing on your priorities. Obviously, everyone's busy. There's a lot going on. If you can find 3 hours in a week, then you can probably do 3 5Ks. It might be cutting a little bit tight, but if you can, maybe you sort of miss the shower or something. It's possible. It's quite possible. So in terms of the work-life commitments, I felt I had a pretty busy job, and I managed to fit the running in. I probably wouldn't have been able to do 3 10Ks a week, but I was able to do 3 5Ks a week, and it was about being prepared. Yep.
And sort of servicing your body, respecting your body. We've talked about this before as well. I got to an age where I've never really loved my body very much because it's always been my limbs have been a bit skinny, and then I developed a belly, and it's just like, oh, damn it, no, that's not right. And now I've started thinking, no, actually, this is a gift. I'm not a pretty religious person, but it's a gift I've been given, as well as my really rather mediocre mind. I've got a mediocre body, but I still love it, and I'm going to service it by doing this hour-and-a-half exercise. It's like, oh, sorry, I didn't have time to shower this morning. I couldn't find time to shower this morning. No one really says that. It's one of the things that you just do as part of it. We talked about this before over a beer, actually, about if you're unhappy, you've got 2 options, really. Carry on or change. And change is basically all to do with finding the things that are making you unhappy. If that's you're running too fast, so it's really the pain is too much, and stop running so fast. Or if it's because I can't find time, just organise your life around that. I still work because I have to. I wasn't quite although we did the same job. For some reason, Andrew's managed to retire and I haven't. I mean, to be fair, he was very, very good. But I don't know quite how that worked. I need to dig into his finances at some point. That job you had at the end, I don't know how you fitted in stuff. But I was like, where there's a will, there's a way. I couldn't believe last winter. And like you said, you can run through virtually every temperature in the UK. So the UK is probably at freezing or just around there at its coldest, and about 30 at its hottest. And I'd actually rather run in 0 than 30. But you can easily, I can attest to this, run slowly and be hot enough at 0 degrees with some leggings and shorts and 2 layers maybe and a hat.
Yeah. So the weather's not a reason.
No,
the weather's not a reason. It's actually nice running in the cold. Actually,
I
especially
prefer
for
it.
big chaps.
Yeah. We've got our heating systems need a little bit of a helping hand, and also the rain. Running in the rain, you feel rock hard. I feel I have this sort of fantasy about being some sort of a special ops soldier when I'm running through the rain, and it gets me through as long as I've got a podcast on as well. So there's no excuse from the point of view of blasting through the weather. Absolutely right. And low barrier.
I was thinking about. I was thinking about other things which tend to sort of be setbacks, and for me, it's things which disrupt my routine. Just tend to get me out of the frame of running a little bit. And there was a period this summer for a few weeks when I went on holiday, and I'll come back to the holiday because I love to run on holiday. I did run on holiday. It was super hot, and the only run out of the place we were staying was 1,000 meters up, essentially. So that wasn't fantastic fun. So my running was less over the holiday period. Then I came back and got COVID, and it was quite mild, but that took the edge off the running as well. And it wasn't long before, like 3 or 4 weeks had gone by, when I just hadn't been running as regularly, and I went down to the running track, local club, to do a track session, and I was bouncing down with my bouncy gait that I'm still practicing with, and I pulled my calf muscle.
Oh, okay.
So that was like three things had happened, So that's a situation where you have to stop being a bit careful, because you can sort of see how things can compound, and it wouldn't be, too hard to think, oh, this running thing it's just not working for me. But I just slowed down a bit and took some time to recover, and that was fine. So
Yeah.
that was fine. And then the holiday thing. I do try and run on holiday. So rather than using the holiday as a reason to not run because well, I'm going on holiday, so the entire schedule is up for grabs and we're doing nothing to do with exercise. You just take your running gear on holiday, and I've got a little running watch which has maps on it. It has global maps, so I can plot a run in you know anywhere, and then I just follow it on my watch. You just go onto Strava. Strava will tell you where to run if you're in Morocco or anywhere. You can get a run it on Strava. I haven't actually tried Morocco. I presume they have Strava in Morocco. I'm sure they do. So yeah, so don't. If you're going on holiday and you're thinking you can't, running a holiday is a fantastic. You see the place from a completely different perspective. You rather than seeing it through an air-conditioned bus or in your hire car, you're running through the environment and looking out across the fields, and you can run in the early morning when it's cooler. And I absolutely love it. And I would not go on holiday now without my running gear because it's so special.
Well, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I am now the same. So I had this paranoia when I started that if I missed a session, I'd go back so quickly that I'd never catch up again, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, it has to be said that at our age, you probably regress your level of fitness quite quickly, whereas if you're 25, you pick it up again really quickly. So it's quite good to have this idea of running regularly. So what I have in my mind is I'll run 3 times a week if I can, and if I'm away, I'll run if I can. And it's amazing, actually, how adaptable you can be. So I've run in France. I ran in Florida this year. I ran in, what's that island called in the middle of it? Mauritius. I ran in Mauritius.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
St. Lucia.
wow.
So
Yeah.
I ran in all these places. Now, St. Lucia was too hot, so I had to go in a gym. And I just befriended this lovely guy who was just like a god. And I was doing my plodding on the thing, and he was absolute Adonis. And we used to see each other every day. It turns out he was in the Thunder from Down Under. So,
All right.
ladies, look up what the Thunder from Down Under is, and you'll see the kind of man I was training with in St. Lucia. It was absolutely brilliant. But yes, my lovely running shoes that you recommended to me, and a vest and some shorts where you take on holiday anywhere. And you
Yeah,
are
hardly
so,
anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're so right. And you can use you can use your trainers anyway as going out trainers if you want. If you
And the
really
most
get
important
travelling
thing is
Yes.
on Strava, you get a fancy new run from a different location.
Exactly.
Everyone thinks you are amazing.
Yeah, they do, and it's a bit gamified. Yeah, how many different locations can you do? And you are so right about a different way of seeing the place. It sounds ridiculous because I'm only doing 5K. You might do a little bit more than that. Louise will probably do a bit more than that. But in that 5K, you'll meet people, a lot of people walking their dogs. If you're in America, there's people working out on the beach. If you're in a beach, I was in a rural part of France, and people looking at me oddly because I had a Kenya vest on, and I obviously wasn't from Kenya either by how I looked or how I moved, and it was.
Are you not from
ridiculous.
Kenya, Oliver?
I am not Kenyan. No, I'm Yorkshire.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
well, that's
right.
news to me.
I mean, to be honest, we are all, as you know, we're all from Kenya and Ethiopia, actually, from 50,000 years ago. So, yeah, we are, in that
indeed.
sense, African. But my body shape has changed a little bit from our common ancestor. And it was just a great way to see the place and you're on your own, or you either got your music in your pocket. And it really, really is. It is good. And I just
Yeah.
want to emphasize the thing is that if it's not good, like you said, actually, change the reason why it's not good. Is it hurting? Do something about that. If you can't breathe, which is my thing, I've got this thing about not being able to breathe. It really does irritate me. But if my lungs are hurting, you do something different. But don't stop moving. In the words of, gosh, who was that? Don't stop moving. That's probably Soul to Soul. I
Elvis
imagine.
or something?
Elvis was more stepping on my blue suede shoes or
yeah,
run on
that's
them.
right.
But
That's
I think
right,
it was
one
Soul
of
to
those.
Soul who were proponents of not stopping moving. I have no idea what Jazzy B's 5K time is, but
Well, we'll get him on. We'll get him on.
So this don't stop moving thing, and you say, I think you've got the wrong idea about what I meant by don't stop moving. I was
Yeah.
talking about grooving.
Oh, I see.
But yes. Anyway, going back to my philosophy is I run 3 times a week, and there's got to be an exceptional circumstance where I don't, which would be injury, or which hasn't happened yet, or illness. But I'd have to be really ill, so I've got a slightly elevated temperature. I'm still going for a run after this, and it'll be slow, and I don't care. Or holidays, and if then I'll find a gym if it's really, really hot, or hopefully even if I have to stop, because Florida was really hot as well. And that was really interesting, because you get some people who are about 1,000,000 years old and all sort of leathery and stuff and still running, and then some rich people with dogs. So yeah, I would say I'm a runner. I run 3 times a week. I do 5K. I try to do a bit more sometimes. Haven't been doing that very well, but wherever I am, I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, on the injuries front, that is obviously is a massive topic, and I don't think we want to be giving people advice on what to do with
No,
injuries,
God, no.
other than just to say how it's been for us and for you. You haven't had any, so that's easy. But for me, as I mentioned, I've had some aches and pains and some strains. So what I've done is I have gone to physios if the issue hasn't gone away, and I've done my own research, and I used lotions and potions and deep heat and volatile gels, and occasionally painkillers. In terms of whether or not it stops me running, you just take a judgment on the day, and I might be verging on the too aggressive here, because as is happening with my calf at the moment, it's not going away. But I think in general, just decide on the day whether or not you think you can go for a run. And if you can either step outside, run 100 meters, and if you feel awful, or if something's hurting, just stop. If something is properly hurting, if you have to limp, my rule of thumb is, if you have to limp, that's not acceptable for running.
Yeah.
So if there's an ache or a pain, oh, that's okay. But if it makes you limp, then stop, turn around, and come back. So yeah, I think it's just, don't make having an ache or a pain a reason to not run, and because that's just going to interrupt your running schedule too much and be a distraction.
Yeah, your body's always talking to you, isn't it, really? And sometimes it's just saying, hang on, keep an eye on this. And sometimes it's saying, will you please stop doing that immediately? And it's a trick, learning which is which. And one thing that I found, particularly early on, I'd had very bad back troubles for the last 15 years, where I have had to have physio. I've got a collapsed disc, and occasionally it flares up to the point where it's really, really lie downy terrible. And I got the odd twinge when I started running, because the back's going, what are you doing? What are you doing? You should be moving in all directions there. My hips as well. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to replacement hips. That's such a granddad thing. And I started running through a bit of the pain. And after the first kilometre, the pain went away. So it is possible, and we are not doctors, by the way, and if it hurts, stop. But what I found, is only my experience, caveat, please don't sue us, is you can run through things, like you said. So with me, it was more achy bones thing as opposed to muscular, so skeletal rather than muscular. But there was one run I was doing, a park run actually. I was plodding along in the first, and I thought, I'm going to have to stop here. So I'm going to give it another 100 yards. And slowly, I think what happened is my musculature sort of said, oh, right, okay, he's serious about
it. Yeah, sure.
We'd better do something to protect this hip. And I started running fine. I mean, do be careful, particularly as you get to our age and beyond. But you can run through certain things, and certain things are just little warning amber signs from your body, as opposed to red ones. But if it bloody hurts, bloody stop.
If it really hurts, stop, and yeah, just walk home wherever you are. Yeah.
And
I mean, just yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, just to finish. No back pain, touch wood again. I'm surrounded by wood. No back pain since the first maybe 2 months of my incredible running journey. No back pain or
Amazing.
hip pain. Extraordinary. Presumably my muscles have built up a little bit, so they can support the bits of my spine that are not at optimum, should we say?
Adaptations. Yep.
Yeah. My body. Yeah. Your body is wonderful.
Yeah.
No, sorry, that sounded a bit off, Andrew. I wasn't saying your body was wonderful in a flirtatious way.
Well, that's what you said earlier before we came online, as it were.
I just made sure you weren't recording, but love your body. It's wonderful.
Yeah. I was just thinking about illness, which you mentioned there, and just the same thing applies. So not to dwell too much on illness now, because we talked about injury, and really illness is a similar sort of thing. So it's about sort of taking your temperature, to coin a phrase, in the moment. And And when I had COVID recently, I did actually go for a run because I didn't feel that bad. So I just thought, I don't have a temperature. I have tested positive for COVID. I've got a bit of a sniff. I don't have a chest infection. I actually don't feel that bad. So I, had a couple of strong cups of coffee. Make sure I was properly hydrated and I was well fed and I'm generally okay. And I went for a slow run, and I was quite prepared to get the first half K down and say, nah, it's not working, but it was fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't push it. I just did a zone 2, which for those who don't know the heart rate, that's a sort of that's a fairly slow run where you can still carry out a conversation, and it's fine. So again, it's just the same message. So with illnesses, be very careful. But our experience is that you can carefully run through them, so long as you don't feel too awful, and if you do, stop.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of things to say and a question. So the first thing to say is, yes, normally what I do, if I have a slight temperature, which my aura ring is telling me I just feel meh, or I felt I haven't eaten, I just do it anyway. It's like feel the grumpiness and do it anyway. And actually, I've never had to stop. I've never had to stop in 14 months or whatever it is, 15 months. And then the second thing was, apart from when I very, very, very first started, I tried to run faster every time. And sometimes I came back and I felt absolutely ghastly. So don't do that either. But apart from that, now I am a runner. I've never done a run where I felt worse at the end. In fact, I've never done a run where I felt the same at the end. So I've always got something out of the run, either physically or, very importantly, psychologically. And we'll talk about mental health on one, not a whole episode dedicated to it, but we'll go into a deep dive on mental health, I think, at some point. And then I have a question as well. So this balance between doing enough exercise that you feel you're working, right? So your body is working, but not getting to the point where you think this sucks. I actually might give up and start chess. Can you, in your opinion, in your non-expert opinion, but you've read a lot and you're very clever, in your opinion, can you use heart rate zones in that way? Can you say, right, I am going to be more scientific, and I'm not going to sort of listen to how I feel. I'm going to be more scientific about this and do a zone 2 run when I don't feel like pushing it and risking feeling awful, or a zone 3 run where I think I probably can push it a little bit further. Is that sensible, or do you listen to your body rather than your Garmin?
I just take it. I take it all. I think I just take all the data and just take it in the round. So if I'm not feeling great for whatever reason, it could be just too much booze or too much food, or just I'm ill, slightly ill, then I often notice my heart rate is up slightly, maybe 5, even 10 beats higher than it would normally be, and that's an indication that all is not brilliant. So if you're not able to do your slow run in zone 2 and it's climbing up into zone 3, then that's just it's not a red flag, but it's just it's something to think about. So if you can combine all the data points you've got with how you're feeling, and if you're not feeling great, if all the data points are pointing one way, which is you should probably stop running, then I think you should stop running, and that's okay, and get better, feel better, and then continue.
Yeah.
Actually, just to hop back to so when you were talking about had you ever stopped running through illness, I have actually.
Wimp.
A few years ago, I was out. I was still doing 5Ks with Rachel, and she was getting in front of me, and I was falling back, and I thought, I really do not feel very good today, and I got sort of halfway around the run, and I just felt terrible. Really, I didn't have any energy, and I felt that I was just going to have to walk, and I just came up to the footpath, and there was a group of people coming with some dogs, and I just thought that was a good opportunity to stop. And then I thought, I'm just going to go home. So I sort of waved to Rachel. She came back, and I walked home, and I didn't feel good for the next day either. So I went to the doctor. I had pleurisy.
Oh my God!
Which is sort of like this
It's a real
sort of
old man
Victorian disease.
Yeah. Good Lord, that's
Essentially,
gout
it's
kind of territory.
pleural pneumonia, which is an inflammation of the lining of the
Yeah.
lung, and it was horrible. And I had it for 10 days. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't lie down because when I lay down, the weight of my lungs would press onto the back of my chest wall, which was inflamed with the pleurisy and the
Oh,
lung
God.
lining. It was the most dreadful thing. It was far worse than COVID. I don't know how the hell I picked it up, but
Good Lord.
yeah. So that so I went out on a 5K run. Was a bit annoyed that I couldn't run with double pneumonia or single pneumonia. I'm not sure which version I had, one or both lungs. But anyway, sorry. Yep, go on.
God, no, please. What a terrible story. Pleurisy. Yeah, it sounds awful. I think my granddad, my dad had that. And it was, yeah, so that's where it's a sort of granddad kind of, blimey, that's bad.
It's like scurvy or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds horrible. It sounds medieval, doesn't it? Like something like
Yeah.
the plague, bring out your
Yes.
pleurisy.
Had a dose of the Black Death, knocked out a 15K though.
I said, yeah, the bloody plague, the itchy armpits I
Yeah.
got, but I still kept going. Oh, I'll tell you what's happened to me as well. My arms are stronger. We're going to do a whole episode on how it's changed our lives, which is hopefully not going to be too hippy dippy. But one thing I've noticed has changed. My arms are stronger, and
Yeah,
all they've
yeah.
done is waggle by my sides. But I think they obviously are for part of this machine that pushes you forward. I think maybe if they're only giving.
They are doing more than that. Yeah, they
Yeah.
are. They're balancing and they're driving, and yes, and obviously they weigh a lot because they're large lumps of meat attached to your body.
right.
So, yep, they're just going to get stronger
Yeah,
without doing anything else.
yeah, it's really weird. It's just a three-dimensional movement because you're sort of twisting and adapting, and you're going over pavement, and then you're going on grass and stuff. So your whole body's getting worked out. Which I always think that's why my skeletal health is improving, because I suppose it's not just about your bone structure; it's about what is supporting the bones in terms of, I don't know, tendons and what are those other grisly bits called. So yeah, that's good. So. Do you have any advice, though, for people who do have to stop running for a while due to illness, injury, or just not having the opportunity, or just losing the motivation for a while? I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? Surely
think-
having a break.
I mean, we touched on this right at the start. Just, I think, I don't think you ever stop being a runner, even if you stop running.
Like alcoholic.
Yes.
You're just in remission.
I've just got a bit of a cold at the moment. It's just more to do with making sure that you restart. So stopping running is okay, and there can be lots of reasons for doing that, which we're talking through. What those reasons might be. It's about just trying to hold on to that positive sense that it's a hell of a lot easier to restart running than it is to start running from scratch, because you know what to do. And one of the books I read, it might have even been Phil Maffetone's book, was about how much about running is in the mind, and how much work your brain is doing to run. So when you start running longer distances, 20, 30, 40K, it's not just that your body gets tired. Your brain is not used to telling the body what to do for that long, and your brain becomes exhausted because it's not used to just instructing the various parts of the body to do what they're doing. So you have to get your brain used to that as well. So there is a strong mental component, and people talk about mantras when you're running. So if you some people find this useful, some people don't, but a mantra might be smooth, fast and stable, or it might be super cool athlete, just 3 or 4 words, and you repeat this to yourself, something which you find motivating, and you find it boosts your mood, and it boosts your running, rather than saying to yourself, I'm a really bad runner, which is probably not a great choice of mantra. It just emphasizing the mental side of running. So if you do find yourself in a situation where you're not running, just think back. What are the reasons? So try and think about the bad things, which were the things that stopped you running, and just be sort of methodical about it, and think about what things you could do to make those reasons go away. So if it was the weather, then get some get a better clothes. If your running shoes hurt, don't make that a reason to stop running because your running
Yeah.
shoes hurt. Get some other running shoes.
Yeah.
So I think it's about being methodical and breaking things down into bite-sized pieces and just work through them. And just come back. If you have a break from running for 3 months, then that's okay. Just work on coming back.
And yeah, well, as Nike say, get that stitching done, small child. No, as Nike say, just do it. And I think I just must have a mention before we close about parkrun. I know we talk about parkrun all the time, but I've got this real community. What happens is when you parkrun for a long time at the same place, you run pretty much with the same people because you're the same speed, amazingly. And when the big pack's about 450 at Great Lions, and when the pack dissolves, you're all in this together, this group of, I don't know, maybe 40 people. It's mostly women at the speed I go at, and we're and colossal men. And when you go around and the encouragement you give each other, I when I'm running, instead of mantras, I have sort of fantasies, and my fantasies are either I'm an elite military soldier running in the rain, or we're a primeval group running to catch the smug gazelle, and we're the wise people at the back of the group, which there actually would have been, I think, probably in hunter-gatherer communities, and we're the wise old people who know how it's all done, and we're just trotting along to keep the young bucks honest in terms of hunting this thing. But I love the fact that I'm around these guys, and if the guy beats me, it's great, good on him, well done, shake his hand. And if I beat the guy, same thing. Thanks for giving us such a good race. And it's really something kind of special that you're doing this communal thing with people that you don't know, would never have met, and it takes you back to a time long ago. It sounds weird. But honestly, I'm not particularly hippie or sentimental. But it's a lovely thing. It's a lovely thing running together for some reason.
It's almost like the opposite of a setback. So I don't know. Is that a step forward? So
Yes.
Things which actively help you keep running. And doing community-based things where you can meet up with people, and you're essentially just doing ingraining good habits rather than bad habits, and that's obviously a brilliant thing to do. Like good eating is actually a habit. It's about education in what to eat and when to eat and how much to eat. But essentially, it's ultimately becomes a habit. And if it doesn't become a habit, then you stop eating well, I guess, and fall back into old habits. And same with running. If running doesn't become a habit, then it'll be easier to stop, and you can make it a better habit by and making it social and going to park run and joining your local running club, which will probably be extremely inviting, and there'll be lots of slow people at running clubs. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no, this habit thing is really important. We should come back to that time after time. The great news is it doesn't take that long to form a habit. I don't know, what is it, 2 or 3 weeks or whatever? It really doesn't take that long. It'll feel weird, and sometimes you'll go, oh God, I can't be arsed, and oh, it's raining. But if you fight through that and you get a habit, I mean, now it's a Monday. You and I had a few beers yesterday. I'm feeling a bit delicate, and we had a long trip back, and we saw Squeeze, which is great but exhausting. And I'm just ready for my run. It's just bizarre, absolutely bizarre. I can't. And the last thing that I have to say on this is that we all get different things out of it. So you very slowly have just got better and better and better, and now you're competitive, and you're getting a kick out of being in the top quartile or even the top quintile or whatever you are in your part run. I'm getting a kick about just having a group that I run with. And my wife, for example, Louise, is so good. She's actually thinking of, well, hang on a minute, maybe I should go into a regional race and see how that.
Fantastic.
It's like not even a competitive woman really, but it's just like there's all sorts of different motivations and things that can make you feel good. So look for those barriers and see if you can eliminate them. Andrew, have you got anything else to say in conclusion?
Something which probably sounds a bit strange on a running podcast, but I think maybe if
Tennis.
someone just can't if someone can't get on with running, you've tried it and you're beating your head against a brick wall, then don't make not exercising a substitute for running. So just do something else, just as long as you get your cardio in, which is getting your heart rate up, and you do some strength exercises and some stretching, whether it's swimming, tennis, tobogganing, whatever.
Kabaddi.
Please, yes, yeah, ballet,
amazing
huskies, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
Chasing huskies.
Yeah, chasing huskies. Just don't stop exercising if running isn't for you.
Yeah, particularly at our age, do something. I mean, we are not preachy. I hope we don't come across preachy. I think we come evangelical, and there's a wonderful world out there. But yeah, move, whatever you do. Andrew, what a great way to stop. It's been an education. Lovely chat as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Oliver. Lovely to speak to you.
We've got so much more to talk about as well. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.